Okay, so when we come to social and moral issues,
Yeah.
let's look at the impact of the new US government, the impact it will have on Africa.
Yeah.
So the issues that we mentioned, like we talked about gun rights, these are moral issues, and we talked about things like right to choice for abortion and so on. Then there's also issue about gay rights. These are factors that they may not be tied to economy, they may not be tied to politics. In fact, today they are being tied to politics. They are being tied to economy. So let us analyze how they change, because Donald Trump has made so many proclamations since he has signed executive orders since he became the president on 2010. So which one of them is that men are men, so women are women, and then places like bathroom and so on in schools must be assigned based on the birth, the gender, the sex that someone was born with. And now many Africans have come to believe that most times powerful nations, when they offer aid to Africa, they tie in clauses that if this particular situation is not being obtained, you will not receive aid from us. And one of such things that is usually popular is about human rights. What is human rights in terms of when you come to factors like gay rights? So during past governments of the United States, you realize that they tied some things, like Uganda was popular about their views on gay rights. Also, Nigeria has laws on gay rights. So things that someone may do or may not do. So, and then US comes out strong through Trump that this is what they stand on. How do you think it's going to affect Africa now, especially when US is taking this kind of strong stand?
Yes, you are very, very correct. I think that many African countries are very resistant to this gay right push. In those other countries, those advanced countries like America, there's also a segment of the society that are still also opposed to it strongly. Conservatives, the Christian wing of these countries are more very, very opposed to it. But in terms of Africa, it's not a popular view here. It's not a popular view at all. So it's at the base of the support that Trump is having with many Africans who appreciate his views. Trump is somebody that has openly embraced Christianity. He's proud of his Christian roots. He talks about Christ and his lordship, and that America should return to the roots, or to their Christian roots. This is something that many Africans particularly African Christians, are happy to hear. Trump is very, very pro-Israel, which Christians do care about the state of Israel and the problem they're having with the Arabs there. And also, like you already said, this gay right movement and gay right things and all of that. So we are likely to have an American government that is not that's not bullying any African country in that direction. We know that you already pointed out Nigeria has an anti-gay marriage law. That law, which Jonathan signed into the bill that Jonathan signed into law. Some people say that was part of the reason why he fell out with Barack Obama.
Really?
Yes, and that was one of the reasons Obama pushed hard against his second term agenda, his return to power in 2015. So you are right. African countries are not likely to see any push in that agenda. Nobody understands why America would even consider that to be a human right. Some people say it's supposed to be a human right, but people are saying let's focus on the normal human right that everybody agrees on. The right to education, the right to good health, the right to security, the right to safety, and all the right to freedom to speak and all of that. Let's focus on all that. Why are we so much hinged? You see a country that poverty is ravishing everybody. There's no water to drink. People are living in very poor, unhygienic conditions. Death rate is very, very high. The American government is not talking about that. Those are human rights that we're supposed to deal with, but we see some NGOs through the American government pushing instead that gay rights be accommodated in such communities. I think that Africa will not have that kind of push on that front.
It's an interesting one because I look at it from this angle that, okay, if in our world today, especially in African continent, it's more like some leaders, some persons think about what US will do before they take some actions. Before they sign some laws, they wonder whether it would impact them or affect their travels to the US or their relationship to the US government and US land. So, like what you mentioned about Jonathan and Obama's government, then you realize that maybe, or whatever happened at that point, there were so many things going on then, like the kidnap of the Chibok girls and so on, and the failure to sell arms to Nigeria by the US and so on. Then, but such influence, I think that Africans need to go back to themselves and define what they call morals by themselves. Not what someone calls moral. Now, if Africans go to sleep, think about it, plan it properly, and say that, okay, gay rights is something that they want to adopt. Let it be that they are doing it because they believe within Africans, and they've agreed by themselves that these are values that can help them achieve what they want to achieve.
Yes.
Not because someone somewhere determines that this is a value good for them, and then it should also be good to you.
Yes.
Good for you. Because of these moral and social issues, I've thought about. One day I was thinking, I asked myself, every day, the powerful nations are encouraging other nations to adopt democracy. That you need to practice democracy in your country. You need to ensure that you are practicing democracy within your state. That elections must be free and fair. You must listen to every member of the citizen and so on. Now, I thought about that is internal democracy. Have you ever sat down and talked about what is called international democracy? Whereby every nation has a right to determine or participate in a global affair, without being scared of one nation is more powerful than the other. To me, it looks like maybe there could be a chaos, but it will not.
Yeah.
As long as we respect, each nation respects the other one, there will not be chaos.
Yes.
Like international democracy suffers when powerful nations determine what happens in another nation.
Yeah.
Then if we are encouraging internal democracies within nations, I believe that we also should think about the nations that are encouraging this. Remember that the moment you are trying to determine what happens in another land, you are affecting international democracy. You are influencing instead of just allowing them to do what they are supposed to do, allowing them to make their choices.
Yes.
Because like in most underdeveloped or developing nations, voters are not allowed to make their choices. They are not given that freedom to make choices. Now, in international democracy, nations are the voters.
Yes.
When a small nation cannot or does not have the freedom to choose who to associate with, it becomes an international problem. Something that is anti-democracy.
I get what you are saying. You know, there's a principle known as non-interference in international relations.
Okay.
So by law is there under international law. Ideally, countries are not supposed to interfere with the internal affairs of another country. These are all statutes in international law under United Nations and all that. So there is this democracy going on an international level.
But at least
in letter. but not in spirit. That's why you are right in what you are saying. What you are saying is absolutely correct. But the point I'm making is that it is weak nations that put themselves in vulnerable situation. When global big countries are trying to push this agenda, they don't do it by force. They might put a caveat. For example, we talked about AGOA. Okay? Sometimes they tie it to trade, sometimes they tie it to aid, sometimes they tie it to like this AGOA thing that I mentioned. Okay, if you want to participate in the AGOA privileges, to be able to import into our country without tariff and all of that, then you have to sign up to human rights laws where this gay rights might not be part of it. Okay? But you cannot, America can't push that agenda to China. America can't push that agenda to Russia. You know, so it's up to
everybody. Because they can stand on their own.
Because they can stand on their own. They have their own economic base. You know, with respect to Putin, the West puts sanctions on Putin government, on the Russian government because of the invasion against Ukraine. It's been 2 to 3 years now. What has happened to Russia? Russia is still a powerful nation. The ruble plummeted in value, but it's rebounded back since. You know, the Russian ruble is still strong. So it's trading with the East, it's trading with Russia, with China, it's trading with Korea, it's trading with the BRIC nations, it's powerful enough to be part of the BRICS. It is increasing its business with Brazil, with Venezuela, with Nicaragua and all that. So telling the West that, look, we can do without you. So the point I'm making is I agree that there's mutual interdependence in the world system. But if you are strong enough, those countries will not have the leverage to bully you in terms of, okay, you want aid, $2 billion, then when we want to look at their human rights law, and one of the human rights law is how do you treat gay people, and all of that. So if you really want that kind of global democracy, then everybody has to go back to their drawing board and be strong, try to be strong nations so that you can make an impact.
And that's one thing that is going to take long to happen.
It's going to take long. But we have no choice, because in the meantime, that you are weak, others will take advantage of you and push their agenda on you. It's just like in the human life as well. You know, private life, everybody is trying to be somebody, to be successful, because the more you are unsuccessful, the more others will place their own task you, place their own burdens on you. But if you are independent and strong and all that, you can't take certain things from certain people. So this is how it is also in international affairs. I'm not saying that it doesn't exist. I'm saying that we should learn our lesson and try to get our ass together so that other countries will be
define what we want.
Define what we want.
Because from what you said, I see that when a nation can actually stand on its own economically, they will be able to determine what they call rights, what they call values. So what they say that this is acceptable for us.
Everybody will respect it.
You don't want to relate with us as an international body or another nation. It's okay.
It's okay. Yeah,
exactly. You want to give us an aid, we don't need it.
We don't need it.
But if you want to dash us something,
fine,
give us something, it's okay.
They don't give us any conditions, no terms.
Yeah, that's true.
No terms. Because we are creating enough value that other countries are looking for. So if country A is trying to give us help because of our trading with them, we can leave them and go for some.
I think another thing we need to discuss from this before we finally close today is migration.
Yeah, you mentioned it at the beginning.
Trump is talking tough. He has talked tough on migration.
Is he only talking tough? He has already started rounding up
people. Acting tough already on moving in and out of into the United States.
Yes.
Has cancelled a birthright that someone would come in from somewhere, give birth to a child within the United States, and the child becomes a citizen. So these are one area. And Africans, we are looking for ways outside our shore. We are trying to run out of this continent.
Yes.
Many people want to escape.
Yes.
And that's the term Japa, how it came to be.
Exactly.
So I think, what does it mean? Because this is going to be highly impactful on Africa. Those that want to travel to the United States.
It's a very sad story. Africans are running away in droves, and many of them are ending up in the Mediterranean Sea. You know, I'm sure that the cases of migrants boat capsizing that have been reported might be lower than what's actually going on. So possibly we have much more people who have died in the Mediterranean trying to escape to Europe. And then there are those who didn't even go as far as that. They got caught up in Niger, Sahel, and other North African countries, where, as reports suggest now, all kinds of human trafficking, sex trafficking, and sex slavery and human slavery is going on. And many of them are underreported. So it's a very sad situation. And those that are lucky have been able to move away to Europe successfully. Many are in America. I think somebody said that there are about 3 million Nigerians in America. That's a significant population. And you see, many of them might be undocumented. So now that Trump is promising the greatest migrant deportation in the history of America, nobody knows how many millions or thousands of that
will be returned to Africa.
Going to be returned to Africa and returned to Nigeria. And that's if they successfully do that, that can be disruptive even to our own Nigerian society when we have that kind of influx. Because one is that if America does it successfully and there's economic benefit to the conditions of living in those countries, it will be an example for other nations to do the same. Already, before we started this program, you mentioned about Kemi Badenoch.
Yes.
The Nigerian British leader of the Conservative Party in the UK, who is towing the same line. So nobody knows whether that's where they're heading towards. You know, it's true that the Labour Party, Keir Starmer, who is there now, is kind of pro-migrant. It's not anti-migrant prime minister. But if something happens to him, but there's all kind of scandals going on around him, and he falls out of power, and there's a snap election called in the UK, and the Conservatives win, and this kind of Badenoch with her rhetorics about Nigeria becomes the prime minister, you can be sure that, you know, she might begin her own deportation program. And we have huge population of African diaspora in France. We have huge ones in Germany, in Belgium, and others. So
I think I'm looking at it from positive side.
Okay, please. It's better that
the negative side is that the person that is being brought back suffering. They spend energy, resources to move out to these countries. So they're expecting to contribute to these countries. Now the country no longer wants them. Most of them are skilled, trained, and educated in so many fields. Medical doctors, engineers, these are people that have moved out. Now, it's going to be painful to them, not even encouraging at all. But imagine a situation whereby these persons come back to the country. Our economy, our system, the countries will benefit. Yes, they may not be paid as much as they would have been paid over there, but then they will be doing the work here instead of over there. So, to me, as we come close to the discussion, to me is that Africans need to sit back and say, what should we do so that we don't need to go to the United States? Why do we need to cross the Mediterranean Sea to go to Italy, where we can sit back and force ourselves to build it?
Yes.
Why should I, as an engineer, run to another country, Korea, run to India or any other country, instead of staying back within my country, within my continent, to build it? What's the problem that's chasing me out? Is it that I can't find job? If I can't find job, what can we do as a nation? Who is this person that is our leader that has sat down and said nothing? If they want to run, let them run. So who is this kind of leaders that we have? Why do we still continue to allow them to be there? When we sit back, frustrated by the fact that even to move out now is no longer easy. And when you've moved out, you could be deported without committing any crime. Then we are going to ask a question that will force us to look
to find solutions.
Yeah, find the kind of solution that is going to be drastic. The solution that will say to us that no, if it is not my personal fault that the nation, that things are not working here, who is the problem? Then you ask the same question, you realize that okay, you're actually doing your best within the nation, but it's not working. And I ask myself, what am I doing wrong? What am I contributing negatively to the nation? And I cannot find what I am causing, the problem I'm causing to the nation by myself. Now, two of us look at it, and then we add more persons. We look at it and we say, okay, there is a problem somewhere. And we're able to point this problem. Just like Achebe said, in the leadership, there is a problem. Not just Nigeria, but the whole of Africa.
Yes.
So then we say, okay, now this is our problem. How can we adjust it? How can we remove that kind of leadership? Once we're able to do that, we realize that, okay, running to US is not a solution. But sitting back, why not? Many Black Americans are seeking places they could actually go in sub-Saharan Africa and reconnect. Ghana has a program whereby Black Americans that can come in, own land and own property. Now imagine that we develop our countries in such a way that someone who owns $5,000 in the US cannot survive with it. But with that $5,000, they come to Nigeria or Ghana or any other country in Africa. They will be rich people. They can even afford houses, live in comfortable places without small amounts that cannot do anything for them over there.
In America. Yeah.
So if we recreate our system, I believe that the idea of migration will
reduce
a return.
Yeah. Well, that's correct. That's very, very correct. The problem is that the problem of development of African is a very deep discussion, and obviously it's beyond the scope of our conversation today.
Yes.
You begin to trace why it is like this, because you need to understand why the problem is existing before we can begin to find solutions. But I don't think I want to blame anybody, because at an individual level, you see how monolithic the problem is. And you see that there's nothing you as an individual can do.
Yeah.
And those who have tried to correct the system have paid the supreme price, and the society continues to move on, and there's nothing anybody can do about that. So if you are reasonable, you try to find a way to solve your own problem, that of your family, rather than just sticking it out. But there are some people that are here who are lucky enough, But if you feel that you don't have, your luck is not here, and you want to try somewhere else, given the monolithic difficulty of resolving the African developmental challenge, then you are right if you have gone abroad. And some of them have gone. In fact, I heard that one of the largest sources of revenue in this country is diasporian remittances. That is clocking about $20 to $25 billion annually. So a lot of people are surviving in Nigeria because of their relations abroad, who are paying their rents, giving them money for school fees and all of that. So if that migration, deportation thing happens in America, and it's going to affect it, But you can trust a white man, you can trust America. They are not going to deport the finest.
Yes.
They are going to find those people that are actually underperforming. I'm not sure they're going to deport engineers and doctors that are looking for. Those ones, they'll find a way, even if they are currently undocumented, they'll find a way to regularize their papers on time. Then those that are just unskilled, just wasting much time, that ones that are going to come in here. And when they send them here, there will be a lot of pressure, because the infrastructure already is not even enough for those of us who are here. You now bring in hundreds of people, hundreds of thousands of people back to Nigeria, become. So we need to create a system. I hear your voice. You keep saying it over and over again. Africans should come back, think and all that. I think it should be another topic of discussion.
Yeah.
How can Africa get it right? Where did we get it wrong? And how can we remedy it?
Yes. I think next time we'll choose a topic also because we are rounding up today.
Yeah.
It has been an insightful analysis of our perspective on shows, on activities that are going on in the world, especially concerning the emergence of a new president in the United States and its impact on Africa. So today, we've been able to go through it. We may have more to talk about. There are so many things that we'll still talk about, so many ways that we're going to present it to you. So it's still African Perspectives, brought to you by Hoha Television and Joliba Live News. So it's going to be coming to you. It's an experience we are going to go through. We are trying to see the world from a new perspective. We are trying to look within. We are trying to look around and then look up as Africans and see how we can go forward. This is what African Perspective is here to do. We're trying to challenge ourselves, challenge our current perspectives, challenge what we think that is working for us when it's not working for us. We're trying to seek out different views and understanding towards what? Towards what we call value. What are these things that we value today? These are the things that we are going to be trashing all through always on African Perspectives, brought to you by Hoa Television and Joliba Live News. Thank you so much for having this discussion with me today.
Well, you're welcome. I really appreciate it. It was a very nice conversation.
Yeah.
I did very well.
Yeah, let's do it again.
Okay, sure.
All right.